Hello and welcome. Let's take you to Rivers State, where the trouble between the former governor and the now governor is far from being over, at least not for now. The dust may have come down a bit, but this is one problem that will keep rearing its ugly heads until the end of 2027 general elections. The Rivers crisis. When Fubara says jungle has matured.
As it is today, in the local palace, they said the jungle has matured.
What he didn't tell you is the concluding portion of that Nigerian slogan. When jungle mature, you know they get commander. That is how we say it in Nigeria when there's fire on the mountain. Now picture the jungle. What typically happens in the jungle? A place where the hyenas, the wolves, the cheetahs, the dangerous animals dig it out. It's usually pathetic, bloody, and sometimes fatal. But the most unique thing about the jungle is that when it matures, no one is in charge. There will be no commander. That's when that expression says, when jungle mature, there is no commander. It typically means that everybody takes orders from no one. They take orders from themselves just for the purpose of survival. The Wike Fubara Kung Fu Panda will naturally observe the rules of the jungle or the rules of the streets. Let me remind you, in case you forgot that movie.
I'm scared, Dad.
Do you trust me, son?
Yes.
Come on, son. Rule number 1, never trust anybody.
Never trust anyone. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, no one cares about your feelings. And rule number 3, someone always gets hurt in the end. People that understand what is going on in Rivers State have called it a constitutional crisis. Call it whatever you may. Wike pushes Fubara, and Fubara holds the strings he can, knowing full well that his master is a mafia who all is fair that favors him.
A new era. When I said that I had a reason for being patient, it was because I know that we are all from one family. And if we have a disagreement, no matter how bad it is, it should be resolved.
When the shenanigans ensued, Nigeria's president, who is Wike's mentor, waded in what was the most unconstitutional manner ever seen. He pulled his agbada in a psycho-friendly manner for a psycho-friendly praise, because he does not understand the nitty-gritty of the office he occupies. He thinks it is Lagos where he applies the razzmatazz of a crazy, power-drunken warlord. He thinks it is his Lagos paternal inheritance where he applies the razzmatazz of a power-crazy warlord, thereby deepening the crisis.
I know them. They're my children. I will tell them where to go, they will go. So why you worry yourself?
Everything he did was to hold down Rivers State for himself, because often they look forward towards the next election and not just the governance and steering of the lives of the people. The respect people accord Wike is because he's become power crazy, drunken, that he can boast of and picking someone and in a few moments call the person an ingrate in a democracy. Well, sometimes we believe that all the things Nigerian politicians do are unconstitutional. So you cannot apply constitution when you want to get yourself out of the trouble, and then when you want to cause troubles, you go unconstitutional. When you cause trouble, you go unconstitutional. When you want to save yourself, you go constitutional. But Uche Secondus, Wike's former ally, says Wike is disrespecting everyone that made him.
He has insulted those who made him. And he will pay for it. Whatever he sows, he will reap.
They make people in the Nigerian politics. And Wike in turn call them vampires, buccaneers, expired politicians. When the name calling is over, we will still ask this important question. What is the needs for Rivers people? Wike sums up all the political big heads, the stakeholders in Rivers politics, and calls them expired people, buccaneers, vampires, who wants to destabilize the state.
A name calling and blackmail and insult that Wike has given to the leaders of the states, as you mention our names. And you know that we can't go down to the level directly at the gutter or motopark. Those are motopark languages. It is very unfortunate for a man who became governor and now minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria should use such language. That language is known to Wike alone. It's not known to the state.
The question is, if someone in Abuja is causing so much brouhaha in Rivers State, who actually is destroying the state. In the midst of the saga, the governor says he will probe past government. Is it a genuine intention? Or is vendetta? If you ask me, if there is need to probe past administrations for the good of the Rivers people, it's a welcome development. Mr. Project, the psychophancy we see in Nigerian politics. When people do their job, they are being praised for it as if they are doing it with personal funds. These are things that have been budgeted for, with funds allocated to them, but people arrogate powers to themselves when these projects are done. What does a governor actually do? Give approvals? Are they the ones that go to the field to do the work? The laying of the blocks? Whatever. What are the projects? Flyovers? How many people use those flyovers? How do these projects ripple out in the lives of the people? If you construct flyovers that are forgotten and abandoned with time, and the people are hungry, of what use is it to your state? Mr. Project, the second name of Wike. That title has been punctured by Fubara. All the projects that Wike bragged to have been done and finished and paid for, Fubara alleges to be paying again for them. Uche Secondus calls it a media hype, and it opens yet another can of worms. In his interview with Arise News,
well, those who are saying that his political witch hunts are his friends, but all indigenes of Rivers State can attest to what happened. The name of Mr. Project and all that seems to me that it's media hypes. Look at Lagos, for instance. How many overhead bridges fly over? They are uncountable. In Abuja, they are uncountable. Within 8 years, the man builds 10 flyovers, and the noise was more than those who have worked in Lagos and Abuja or the bridges over there. I think that there is need for thorough, not only our state, other states, because the issue of governance in Nigeria is on trial at this moment, because we can see budgets being made, but on the ground, we can't see anything. I know the governor knows better whether he will probe or whether he will not probe. But all I know, like I granted the interview earlier, there is this money that was meant for the Ogoni people, $300 million that was paid by NNPC to the government of Nyesom Wike. Where is that money? I think Wike should account for it. There is also the money that Governor Mechi paid for gas turbine, and in addition of the one that Nyesom Wike paid. All that money, no gas turbine, that was brought in, but it took the money back from Saipem. You recall that the Saipem MD was detained, and after there was settlement and they returned. Where are those monies?
He asked Wike to account the $300 million paid by NNPC for the Ogoni people. He asked him to account for the monies taken by Amechi himself for the Saipem project. All this speak volume. Mr. Projects has come again in Abuja alleging that some projects were not captured and they want to expand the budget for Abuja. Secondus called Wike an abusive leader, a serial abuser who truncated his tenure as PDP chairman and prematurely retired Peter Odili's wife as the Chief Justice of Rivers State. This is getting dirtier, and now we understand why Wike sympathizers are already screaming betrayal even before any probe. Why would you say someone betrayed you when they have not investigated you? Secondus opined that the court has become another political party for Wike to achieve his aims, with one leg in APC and another one in PDP. With Wike's PD-APC model, one thing Secondus made clear and established is that power resides with the people. Power resides with the people. It is in the hands of the River State people to decide what becomes of them, not in the hands of Wike, not even in the hands of Fubara. Fubara held on with there is no price too much to pay for peace. So there is no crisis in River State, and now to some people do not exist. He seemed to have worked for the peace he wanted, but it wasn't coming. What is that, Mr. President's 7 or 8 point ultimatum or peacemaking idea? You still remember? Reinstate the people that have resigned, the lawmakers that have resigned from their offices. Stop the impeachment procedure against Fubara. Reinstate Edison Ehie. Do you still remember? Let's fling it into the bush because it doesn't make sense. Let's fling it into the bush because it came from the back door. It came from the back door. I say again, if Fubara has to probe past administration, including that of Wike, to get River State people back on track, let him do it. It has to be done. Even if Fubara will be caught in the web, you know, sometimes there are no survivors in the jungle, only the skeletons later. But Fubara doesn't look ambitious, at least not in politics. But you know, when they give a baby jewels, he sometimes sees it as a teeter. Some people have also felt that Fubara will be caught in the web of the probe he wants to institute. But let me ask you this question. If an accountant releases money to the head of an organization on request for a stipulated project, and the money is released and the head of the organization goes a separate way, changing the plan, would the accountant be held liable? If funds are redirected by a governor, would the accountant be held liable? Because if a governor brags that every project with which he made names, with which he campaigned for presidential elections, were all paid for, and succeeding administration comes to realize that there are still debts on the shoulders of the states, impacting heavily on their present resources and programs, shouldn't there be a probe? Should there not be a probe? I have always said that Wike is in Abuja. And as I conclude this episode, because I will be bringing you the happenings, my question will remain, what is Fubara's crime? What exactly is Wike dragging with Fubara? Does that thing have a solution for Rivers people and Nigerians at large? Because the distraction is enormous and uncalled for. Thank you so much for listening.